You recognize what it's like to live with dogs. You understand the importance of how to share a life with a different species. And then it becomes a very slippery slope. It really does. It really does. You end up like, well, what's one more? That's what ends up happening. You're like, what's one more? Right? Because these dogs are good. So what's one more? Before you know it, you're up to 19. So that is my like warning to you. Yes, today on the podcast, all the warnings, because once you understand the secret sauce to your dog's unique dogonality, you will find it easier and easier to not only live with your dog, but you'll start to understand dogs at a whole new level. Sound intriguing? Of course it does. Let's get into it. Ready to have a calm and peaceful life with your dog without the stress of those fear-based behaviors? Hi, I'm Tracy, and I've been there, overwhelmed by all the conflicting dog training advice and unsure of what to do next. But now I help dog lovers like you simplify your life with your dog by building confidence naturally, fostering trust, and addressing those fear-based challenges. So, if you're ready, stop chopping those chicken wieners and let's get to it. Hey there, friend. Are you feeling overwhelmed by all of the conflicting dog training advice out there? One trainer says to dominate, another says use treats, while one is over there just shouting science-based like it's a personality trait. Hey, if you're exhausted trying to figure out who's right, I see you. Why not try something different? I have a fun little dogonality quiz. It's fast, it's eye-opening, and it'll help you understand your dog from a whole new perspective without all the noise. Go to beyondobedience.ca/quiz, take that quiz today, and don't forget to share your results with us inside the free Facebook group Living Beyond Obedience, because I would love to hear what you got. All right, I'll see you there. Well, hello, my dog-loving friend. It is Tracy. Welcome to Beyond Obedience, the podcast. Oh my gosh, it's a beautiful day today. It is a beautiful day today. Anyway, I'm in a great mood because the sun is shining. We're back here talking about dogonality. I get to talk to you, my friend. All right, let's jump right in. If you missed, I would say the last 2 episodes. So there was an episode called The Secret Sauce. That is our foundation of relationship. The reason that I was able to live with 19 just good dogs while running a brick and mortar dog training business, as well as raising 3 kids, living on a farm, having horses, all the like, and was not able to at all ever train my own dogs. I was the plumber with the leaky faucet, some might say. And so I shared how it was that I was able to do that. Now, I am going to say, since somebody asked me about it, if I had to also talk about how I ended up with so many just good dogs, I will say this. It starts with one good dog, right? It starts with one good dog. You can get into trouble. My husband's probably like, give everybody a disclaimer here. Listen, this is the disclaimer. If I start sharing all this stuff, if I start sharing this stuff with you, and you go out and realize the secret sauce and how it is to live with dogs, that is easy. And then you end up with 2 dogs, 4 dogs, 8 dogs. And your husband is like, how did we end up with so many dogs? I do not want this coming back on me, because it is a slippery slope, my friends. It is a slippery slope. I've had more than one of my friends' husbands say that I'm a bad influence. Not for the normal reasons, but it is a slippery slope. It does get easier once you start to understand this at this level. Once you understand it at this level, once you get dogs at this level, first of all, I will say the beauty of it is that you can release all the gobbledygook that's going on outside of the world, like all the training gobbledygook and all the fighting and all of the science-based, positive only, all of that garbage. You get to sort of release it all, because you recognize what it's like to live with dogs. You understand the importance of how to share a life with a different species, and then it becomes a very slippery slope. It really does. It really does. You end up like, well, what's one more? That's what ends up happening. You're like, what's one more? Right? Because these dogs are good. So what's one more? Before you know it, you're up to 19. So that is my like warning to you. Just this is my warning to you. All right, let's get into it a little bit. So we've been talking about dogonality, okay? And the secret sauce. So we talked about the foundation of relationship being the secret sauce, leadership, relevance, fulfillment. And then last episode, we talked about the left brain introvert or the calm thinker. And I talked about the importance of leadership in that relationship and how we are kind of letting the leadership slip due to that dog's dogonality. Today, we're going to go to the other side of the left brain. And we're going to talk about the left brain extrovert. The left brain extrovert, or as I like to call them, the life of the party dogs. Whoop, whoop. These dogs are the life of the party. They show up and they are their own party. Right? Have you met these dogs? They are the life of the party. What is the left brain extrovert dog? So basically, if we'll do a quick recap, right? When we're talking about these quadrants, we have left brain and right brain. Left brain is the thinking side of the brain. Right brain is the instinctual side of the brain. And remember, please do not come up in my comments and tell me that's not how the brain works. This is for simplicity's sake, not an anatomy class. Okay? I know I keep saying it, but I'm like, inevitably someone's going to send me a message, just be like, that's not how the brain works. And I'm like, yes, I know. Okay. So for simplicity's sake, we're saying left brain is thinking, right brain is instinctual. Okay. And so when we're talking about this, and I should point out too, and I'll probably reiterate this throughout the whole series, this is a fluid thing. Okay. We're looking at it like this is what the dog defaults to, right? So there's certain dogs that default to thinking, and you have to really kind of push them to have them become instinctual. And then there's some dogs that just naturally default to instinctual, and you have to work a little bit harder to pull them out of instinctual to be thinking. Okay, so dogs will flow in and out. Same with introvert and extrovert. So introvert, they don't like to move their feet, and extroverts like to move their feet. And again, this is something that is sort of their innate way of being. When I talked about the LBIs, they're just generally laid back. They're not necessarily running around your house and doing that sort of thing, but they are still a thinking breed. They quite often, I don't want to go back on LBIs, but they quite often are thought of as almost being slow, and they're not. They're thinkers. They're not moving, not because they don't understand what you're saying, but rather they're just not interested in it. And that's a different thing, right? Like some dogs don't do the obedience command because they don't understand you or you're confusing them. LBIs, they understand you. They're just not doing it because there's nothing really in it for them. That's the difference. But now we're going to be talking about the other left brainers, and that is the LBEs, the dogs that like to move their feet. Oh, these dogs are fun. They are fun. That's why we call them life of the party, right? They like to move their feet, but they're thinking. What kind of dogs are these? These are, generally speaking, your working breeds. Let's keep in mind, most working breeds are Ls, right? They're left brains. Most working breeds are left brains because that's what we genetically manipulated them to be. We needed dogs that worked well with us, that were able to access that side of their brain. So most working breeds are LBs. Okay. Same with like the Noofs or LBs. Livestock guardian dogs would also be probably LBIs. You know what I'm saying? But generally speaking, we're talking about these dogs being working breeds. So we're talking, herding dogs and shepherds and all of gun dogs, Labradors, all of these dogs. These dogs are your working breeds and they're LBEs. Okay. So the biggest thing, if I were to think of what is the secret sauce, we're just going with it now. We're calling it the secret sauce. Okay. You're just going to have to go with me. I have no creative anything left. So it's the secret sauce. So Unlike their LBI counterparts, the secret sauce, the secret sauce to the LBE dogs is actually fulfillment. Fulfillment is their thing. It is, and if I can say in all honesty, most of the issues that happens with LBEs is due to lack of fulfillment, true fulfillment. And the reason for that is simply because you've brought home a working breed dog. They came into your house with a resume. They were like, these are the things that I can do for you. And you're like, I just need you to be cute and cuddly. And they're like, okay, but I also can do a lot of things. And so what happens with our LBEs or our life of the party dogs is that if their genetic resume isn't fulfilled, they will find a way to do the jobs themselves. Right? They will look for ways to fulfill themselves. Now, here's where the bond breaks for us, is that when our life of the party dogs go out and they create their own jobs, they really do like to have the feedback from the humans. They like to have direction and they like feedback. That's what they love. It's in their DNA. If you were to look up their genetic resume, it would be like, I am going to listen to you. I'm going to follow your instructions and I'm going to do this job to the best of my ability. But when we give them no directions and we give them no jobs and they make up their own jobs, they still come back and they look at us like, there, I did it. What do you think? And if you're upset with them, if you're angry at them because they ripped up your curtain, because they tore up your couch, because they took off and they're hurting your children all over the place and nipping at their heels, and you are angry with them or upset with them in any way, it destroys the bond and connection. It's a massive disconnect for this breed, right? For this Dogonality. It's a massive disconnect, because it's not just, a lot of people will be like, well, they just need more exercise or they just need more fulfillment. True, but they also need you to delight in the fulfillment. They also need you to give them direction in the fulfillment. They also need you to celebrate their accomplishments within that fulfillment. That is their secret sauce. That is everything to them. And when you get that right, the partnership and bond that you can create with an LBE is unbreakable. It's unbreakable. It is like this. I mean, I actually get goosebumps when I see it. Like when I see people that have that kind of connection and bond with their LBEs, it gives me goosebumps. Like you could feel it. It's palpable. You're like, those two are a team and they are in sync, and it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. Without it, these dogs appear to be pushy or impulsive, right? People think that they're being naughty. I hate that word. Why did I say that word? Naughty. Oh, I'm so disappointed at myself. Naughty. They think they're being bad, and they're not. They're really, really not. Their energy isn't a behavior problem, right? The energy that they have, it's actually unmet need for purpose, right? So these dogs often get labeled as hyper or too much when really they're just, they're unfulfilled. Okay. So I've mentioned this before, I think in the secret sauce, this idea that fulfillment isn't just exercise, but it has to be meaningful engagement. So quite often people will say, oh, your dog just needs more exercise. They don't, they don't necessarily want you to just mindlessly throw a ball for them or take them for an extra long walk. They want you to maybe go on a hike with them and then find some stuff with them. They want you to engage with them in the things that they know that they can do, the things that they are driven to do. They want you to be a part of it. They want you to be part of their joy and not just refereeing their chaos. just just barely hanging on, refereeing their chaos, right? They want all of those things. And they really do crave that partnership. They want to do things with you. That's the biggest thing. Now, some of us that have the LBEs, I have LBEs. You know, I have LBEs. My LBEs are my Australian Shepherds, and they are LBEs. And I've talked about this before because one of the things that I will say, if you have a working breed dog that has a genetic resume, like they've come into your home and they're like, this is what I can do, it would serve you to try to find a way to fulfill that genetic resume. What do I mean by that? If we're talking about scent hounds, if you got a scent hound that is in your house and you're like, I don't know what to do, see if you can find a way to do scent work with them. There's so many organizations now that have scent work things, but not just scent work, like find scents in a, but if you've got like a bloodhound, go trailing, right? Go trailing. These dogs find lost people. Like, you know, like go find it. Go find the thing that they can do. So many opportunities out there, right? Like we took Nike to barn hunt. I would like to take her to more barn hunt. My schedule has not permitted that as much as I would like to, but we took her to barn hunt and what was the other one? The one where they go to ground. She's done both. And she did so well. I remember taking her to go to ground and I was like, there's no way she's going to go in that little box. Like, she's not going to run through that little tunnel. And she did without hesitation. Like, she blew my mind. She blew my mind, like, without hesitation. Full disclosure, I will say, full disclosure, because I forgot about Nike. I have Australian Shepherds and I have Nike. She would also be an LBE. Um, I took her first to barn hunt and I was like, she's going to kill it on this. Like, she's going to be awesome. Because, you know, naturally, like, they're ratters. It's a rat. Like, she's going to find it. No problem. Yeah, she sucked. She was more interested in what was behind the other curtain. And I was like, come focus over here. And you can't like signal and whatnot. Anyway, she wasn't great. So when I went to take her again, the class was full. And so I had to take her to go to ground, but I'm like, you know, they're like, did she do barn hunt? And I'm like, well, she attended it. Does that count? Anyway, I had this like, oh man, she's not going to do as well in this, but she blew my mind. She literally took to that like a duck to water. Like, it was amazing. And listen, this also is the secret sauce to getting over your frustrations. If you're someone who is frustrated with your LBE and you're like, oh gosh, I can't handle this dog. I am telling you, go see them in their element and it will change your life. Go see them in their element. That's what I mean to say, if you can, because there's so many opportunities now. There's herding classes, there's ratting classes, there's go to ground, there's duck diving, there's agility. There's so many dog sports and whatnot coming up and people offering dog sports, which I think is amazing. Go see, okay? Go see, because when you see the dog for the brilliance that they are, it will change you. It will change, especially if you've been in the frustration. If you've been dealing with a dog that's fearful or reactive or pulling you on the leash and just going banana beans, and you start taking them, even if you have to do private, like do some private. I know many people that have done like private agility and whatnot, just so that they can do stuff with their dog. If you have the opportunity, I highly encourage you to take advantage of it. Why? Because the moment you see the brilliance, you will, there'll be a shift in you. You'll be like, this is why, right? Like, this is what you were meant to do. And I wasn't giving you that opportunity to do it. Now, if you can't do it, let's say that's not in the cards. If you can't do it, there's nothing around you, there's nobody that's offering like herding classes or whatnot, I will tell you that there are other ways to fulfill that same genetic desire, but only in a different way. For example, I'm not suggesting you do this because it was my daycare and I was running it. But for example, my two Australian Shepherds got most of their early days when they, like, my Rue is 12 now. She's not as interested in running around and hurting everything. But my Aussies got their fulfillment through playgroup. And because play mimics prey drive, and herding is part of prey drive, the eye stalk and the chase and the grab bite is all part of the prey drive, right? So when dogs are playing with one another, they're actually mimicking that. So my Aussies actually got quite a lot of practice doing herding. They really tried to control chaos within the playgroup. Now, here was the caveat to this, and this is why I'm saying I don't want you taking your dog. Don't take your life of the party dog to the dog park and be like, go, wee. Because remember what I said, you need to be a part of it. Okay? So you can't just be like, oh, okay, so my herding dogs like to play and my play will, like, mimic the herding and all of that. So no. You have to be a part of it. So the difference for me as the person inside that play group was that I was directing that play. I was the one that told them when they could go after things, when they had to stop, when they had to come back, when they had to do stuff. So there was direction from me. It wasn't just a free for all where I was just like, I sat there on my phone on a picnic table and let them go. I had to be a part of it. And my dogs had to have an off switch. So they had to defer to me. If I said, hey, too much, they would be like, okay, we have to tone that down. So in essence, it was mimicking herding, right? I was giving direction. Now I wasn't giving like the really cool direction, like the come by and all that stuff, which would be so cool. I'd love to learn that someday. I would love to learn that someday. Point is, you have to be a part of it. Okay. That is the absolute secret sauce. But if you caught what I was saying there, I don't know if you caught it, but by being a part of it and having the dogs defer to me means they had some level of obedience. So this is the pro tip here. You know that we are all about beyond obedience here, but that doesn't mean I don't agree with obedience or I don't like obedience. And for our life of the party dogs, or our LBEs, they actually like to do obedience. They like the connection. They like to learn things. They like to connect with us. So this is one of those dogonalities where if you're loving doing obedience, your dog will thrive. They need the obedience attached with the fulfillment so that you are a part of it. Make sense? Cool. Now, because I talked about this fluidity that happens, right? And we'll talk a little bit more about this next week when I get into the right brain dogs, the instinctual dogs. But for our left brains, you could certainly drive them into, like, being less extroverted, like slowing them down. Whereas, last episode, I talked about how, for the introverts, one of the things that you can do is get them to move their feet, try to be more animated, try to get them to move their feet. One of the things that you can do for your LBEs is to get them to slow down, right? To stay in the moment with you. So this is just my pro tip, right? LBIs, you got to get them to move their feet. The pro tip for the LBEs is you got to get them to slow down. So what I want you to do on top of the fulfillment is I want you to practice some be with them. Getting them to just be with you, to be quiet with you, to be in the moment with you without moving their feet. Right? Because we want them to be balanced here. I don't want an extreme dog that just can't settle down. So the other side of that is once we've done fulfillment, can we get them to just be quiet, stay with me, just be quiet. Okay, so that's the pro tip for that. All right, I think that's it. LBEs are, I mean, that is it, right? For LBEs, that is it. It's fulfillment. It's fulfillment. It's fulfillment. You can't get away from it. You can't get away from it. Listen, if you have an LBE, come on over to the Living Beyond Obedience group. Tell us all about it. Tell us all about your LBE, what you're doing. What do you do to fulfill them? Let's have that discussion. What do you do to help fulfill your LBE? Let's have that discussion over in the free Facebook group, Living Beyond Obedience. And if you want to take that one step further and join the incredible student community, I highly encourage you to do it now. These are just my little wink, wink, nudge, nudge, kind of things for you, because that program is changing. It's going to get better, as well as you have until the end of July to get that phenomenal deal of lifetime access, which I was told never to do, but I'm doing it just till the end of this month. So July 1st, that comes off the table right now. Join the Fearless Framework for the ridiculously low price. Get all of the bonuses that come with it. You will be the OG inside the group. You will get to stay with it, get to go through all of the iterations with it, and you never have to pay another dime. That is worth $1 gazillion. $1 gazillion, my friend. That's why they tell you to never do that anymore. We're not supposed to offer lifetime anymore. But as long as that program is running, you will have access to it. You will be a part of the community. You get to hang out with me every month. We have Q&As. Those are going to switch to Zooms. We're going to do video analysis. I mean, come on. Come on. That's next level. So if you want to do that, you're going to go to beyondobedience.ca/fearless, beyondobedience.ca/fearless to join that incredible program right now. Become part of the student community. Be a lifer, an OG with me. I can't wait to see you there. All right, friends, I'll see you in the next episode when we will talk about the right brain dogs. As always, get out there today, my beautiful friend, and be the person that your dog thinks you are, because your dog thinks that you're amazing, and so do I. Have a great day, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye for now. Oh, and one more thing. This podcast is meant for entertainment and education purposes only and is not meant to replace hands-on professional training. If you're really struggling with your dog, please reach out to a professional in your area. All right, I think that's it. Bye for now.